Toast. Toast. Good morning, and welcome to this service of worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. My name is Helen O'Brien, and I'm the worship associate this morning. First, a little housekeeping. There are gender-specific restrooms out the glass doors and behind you and to your right, and there's an accessible gender-inclusive restroom in the alcove behind the AV desk. And please make sure your cell phones are off or on silent. One of our co-ministers, Reverend Jamili Omar, is in the pulpit this morning, along with congregational member and worship associate Mel Fish. Our community is striving to become as varied as the blooms of the Sonoran Desert. And so whoever you are, whoever you have been, and whoever you are becoming, I invite you to bring your whole self here now. Please know that you are welcome here, whether you walk, rolled, or skipped in. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, whatever cultural and ethnic background you claim, whomever you love, however you identify your gender, and whatever way you choose to express it. Whatever your immigration status and whatever your mental health, you are truly welcome here. We especially welcome any new visitors this morning. If you are new and feeling up to it, we invite you to raise your hand so that we can welcome you warmly. As we worship today, let us remember those desert people who came first to this place and whose land was stolen in successive acts of displacement and genocide. We honor the A'atam, the Yaqui, and the Apache. We also honor the Hohokam and the many other ancient indigenous peoples whose names are not known to us. One of the core values of Unitarian Universalists is equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. Please turn to someone near you, preferably someone you didn't come with, and share with them something that you did recently or that you witnessed recently that promotes equity. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to ask you to bring your conversation to a close. Thank you. Thank you, and please continue that conversation after the service. Finally, there's a content warning this morning. Today's service discusses thoughts of self-harm, suicide, institutionalization, and depression. Please care for your body, heart, and mind as you need. including leaving if that's right for you.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Jamili, our Minister for Congregational Life here at UUCT, and our invitation for worship today invites your voices with ours. You can say either, it'll be up here, come in or be among us. Come in or be among us. You get to pick whichever feels right for you. Mel will lead the come-ins, and Helen will lead the be among us's. So pick what's right for you when I point at you, okay? No, you're green. Good. To all who yearn for community,
come in.
Be among us.
To all who are just getting started, to all who long to go deeper, to all with tender places needing care,
Come in.
Be among us.
to the ones who have healed and have care to give, for those who are curious and hungry to learn, for those who know they have something to teach,
Come in.
Be among us.
for those who are just beginning to suspect they might nurture others becoming, to the young and the old, the innocent and the jaded, to the fresh of mind and deeply steeped, there is room here for each and every one.
Come in.
Be among us.
Thank you.
Our chalice lighting today. Oh, sorry, everybody. Now can you hear me? Okay. As we light our chalice today, we invite our community to join in the warmth of our flame. As the light of our flame burns through our service, we welcome all to be a part of our light.
Would you rise as you were able to sing the first song? We'll sing it a little slower than we have in the past. It's song 15 in the gray hymnal, The Lone Wild Bird. Please be seated.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Mel Fish, and I would like to take a moment to let you know hugs are welcomed after service. If you can sit with my reflection a few days, I will try to answer your questions as I can, one-on-one. As we look around our congregation today, Sunday, May 25th, 2025, we all know someone dealing with mental illness, both in our families and friends. For me, I see that person in my mirror every day. While I have lived with depression from a young age, I was a 70s kid. No one talked about mental illness then. I went to my first rehab in 1980 and lived alcohol-free for 18 years. I built a life with my then life partner, Alyssa. In those days, there was no legal marriage. Our relationship started in 1984. As the years went by, we talked about making our family. In the early 90s, we bought a house. We then made the decision to bring a child into our family. On November 10th, 1996, Alyssa gave birth to our daughter. I was able to legally adopt Nora, and that's how Nora joined our family. It's been 9 years that my daughter, Nora, had a front row seat and was personally affected by my depression. It has been 9 years that these effects have kept us estranged to this day. It wasn't until my world was rocked in 1998, at the age of 39. At that time, my depression took over my daily life. At that time, my depression took over my life. It was then I found myself involuntarily hospitalized for the first time. As those years passed, I found myself on a roller coaster of being involuntarily and voluntarily hospitalized. During those years, I was told shock treatment would help. At best, it's only a short-term fix with some long-term effects. My depression came with suicidal ideation. My first attempt came in 2003, and my last attempt was in 2018. It was then that I found the right medication and sound therapy I continue to this day. Most of those years, I spent many hours planning my next attempt, leaving little room for anything else. I was lucky to find an organization who hired people with mental illness that helped me with many of my hospitalizations. During those years, I lived in days darker than dark. Most nights I prayed not to wake to another dark day, even with no faith. That all changed in 2019. I took the biggest leap of faith in my life. My new best friend, Nina, opened the door for Tucson to become my new home. For the first time in many years, I can see light in my days. I feel like I've found my home here in Tucson. It took me about 3 or 4 years to find my footing. My best friend, Val, herself a longtime member of the UU community on the East Coast. With her help, I found my way here to UUCT in 2024. With the warmth of open arms of Reverend Bethany, and then Pastor, and now Reverend Jamili, they welcomed me in. I found a community welcoming me into their circle where I was and where I am today. As I continue on my journey, staying on the right medication, talk therapy, and being thankful for the friendships I now have. You have all helped me find my voice as I spiritually heal.
When the choir rehearses, we sometimes check in with one another, and one of the things we do is we sing this next song to somebody when they're in a place and they need a little support. I encourage you, if this song is new to you, you'll catch the refrain. It begins with the refrain, verse, refrain. You'll catch the refrain really fast. At some point in this song, intend to sing this song to Mel. Let us sing the song to you. But also, sing it to yourself, sing it to the rest of the room. Sing it with an intention of sharing it. You'll catch the song quickly. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter where you go, no matter where you've been, you'll never walk alone. I feel you deep within, and I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. And I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter what you feel or what you choose to show, I'm always there for you. So I want you to know that I am sending you light to heal you and hold you. And I am sending you light to hold you in love. And I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. And I am sending you light to hold you in love. I'll walk the path with you. Go slow, dear one, don't hurry. I'll go just like you need to go. There is no need to worry, 'cause I am sending you light to heal you and hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. And I am sending you light to heal you and hold you. And I am sending you light to hold you in love.
Thank you for your testimony and your story and for your bravery. As Mel said, there's a good chance each of us knows someone who struggles with the daily tasks of life due to serious mental illness. And the statistics bear this out. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, serious mental health illness, bless you, is defined as a mental, behavior, or emotional disorder resulting in serious functional impairment, which substantially interferes with or limits one or more major life activities. And in 2022, an estimated 15.4 million adults age 18 or older in the US suffered with a serious mental illness. That's 6% of all US adults. Serious mental illness is slightly higher amongst females than males, the only two genders which were reported. And the highest was among young adults aged 18 to 25 years old. And serious mental illness varies greatly across racial and ethnic identities. We indeed know someone, and we might ourselves be someone with serious mental illness. Treatment for mental illness in the US has run a wild trajectory with some Unitarians in the mix. One of our early Unitarian women, Dorothea Dix, started her journey into advocating for better treatment for those with mental illness by first teaching a Sunday class for women incarcerated in the East Cambridge Jail in 1841. 1841. What she saw there shocked her, as you can imagine, and that began her mission to reform, to call for decent accommodations for those suffering from mental and emotional diseases. Since then, there has been a wide movement towards even more humanity and compassion showed to those suffering with mental illness, and at the same time, the development of pharmaceuticals to ease suffering where possible. This shift has come with it a shift to talk about mental illness as a medical condition and to treat it as such, rather than a defect or even worse, a moral failing of the individual. What is often left out of these conversations, however, is the ways society creates the conditions for mental illness in the first place. Sometimes mental illness comes from a mental health injury. For example, the pandemic isolation caused injury to many of us in many different ways. Children and youth in particular are struggling to catch up in school with their skills and in their social skills from being isolated at such a young age. There's another cause of mental injury that I want to acknowledge, as tomorrow is Memorial Day here in the United States. It is a day we remember and honor those who died serving in the US military. I want to invite you, if you know or are related to a fallen service member, if you feel comfortable, will you share their names with us so we can honor their memory? Just say their name out loud. Jim. May we honor their legacies and fulfill their dreams. We have also known for centuries that war and military service injure those who serve, even if they are not killed. A body lives on, but there's a soul or a spiritual death in a way. A person is dramatically changed by their service. Many, though certainly not all, military personnel return to civilian life with their own mental illness. The one we talk about the most is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, which has its own long and storied history, which is kind of fun to get into. It is a response to a traumatic event which causes, quote, persistent, frightening thoughts and memories of the event, sleep problems, feeling detached or numb, or easily startled. In severe forms, PTSD itself can significantly impair a person's ability to function at work, at home, and socially. There is a newly identified phenomenon that impacts military personnel, and as we will talk about, other professions too. It is called moral injury. A moral injury is, quote, the strong cognitive and emotional response that can occur following events that violate a person's ethical or moral code. Things that we do or that we fail to do, or betrayal by a trusted person in a high-stakes situation can cause us to validate that moral compass that we each carry. We know there are times when military service personnel are required to commit acts that violate their own moral code or moral compass. Rita Nakshima Brock and Gabriella Latini, leading proponents of the study of moral injury, give these statistics. They have said that in World War II, almost 75% of combat soldiers did not fire directly at an enemy combatant, even when their own personal life was at risk. 75% did not fire. This statistic, of course, was not what the U.S. Army expected, and they set out to change the way soldiers were trained. Soldiers became conditioned to shoot before thinking. It's called reflexive training. Shoot automatically without thinking. The documentary Soldiers of Conscience, Peter Kilner describes this training. It becomes muscle memory, he says. You don't think about it, you just do it. Reflexive fire training had the effect the U.S. Army wanted. Shooting rates raised to 50 to 60% in Korea, 85 to 90% in Vietnam. We can only imagine what the statistics are today in the wars we're fighting around the globe. However, Kilmer acknowledges that the problem with reflexive fire training is that it does bypass, in some senses, the moral decision-making process of the soldier. So later, months later, weeks later, years later, the soldier realizes that what they did violated their moral code. When he speaks as a former combatant, Marine veteran Camilo Bica often reads a poem he wrote in Vietnam. Remember, 85 to 90% shoot rates in Vietnam. He wrote, "I fear I am no longer alien to this horror. I am the horror. I have lost my humanity and I have embraced the insanity of war. The monster and I are one." As tragic and heart-wrenching as these stories are, moral injury is not limited to combat occupations. For example, we know healthcare workers during the COVID pandemic were routinely expected to work without proper PPE, were assigned a workload that reduced their standard of care, and were often expected to make impossible life and death decisions. As moral injury is further studied, it is found that more professions are exposed to situations where either personal, moral, or ethical codes can be violated, especially in times where disagreeing with an authoritarian government can be costly. Journalists, police, veterinarians, teachers, social workers, etc., all put into positions of violating their own moral compass to serve. Moral injury, making decisions that breaks one's own moral code, is significantly associated with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression, and it can cause profound feelings of shame, guilt, and alterations in beliefs, such as "I am a failure," as well as maladaptive coping strategies like substance misuse, social withdrawal, or self-destructive acts. Even just witnessing events that can shatter lives, like climate disasters and violence, can cause moral injury, particularly when we don't have or can't take steps to alleviate the suffering of others. It is in this way that I believe that those of us with a moral compass towards valuing diversity, towards dignity for all, humane treatment of all, right? Those of us here are witnessing events that have the potential to cause each of us moral injury. These events are violent and constant and often feels that we can do nothing about them on a global scale. And every day there is more horror unfolding that we often feel we cannot impact. So on this Memorial Day weekend, when we remember and grieve for those who died in the defense of our democracy, let us remember that we too are called upon in this moment to defend the same democracy. And that fight brings with it the potential for moral injury as we witness acts that violate our values. So if you find yourself shutting down or being unusually testy, your fight or flight response, consider whether you are experiencing moral injury or protecting yourself from one. So knowing this, what are we to do? While we know moral injury is an important public health concern, there are no validated studies, treatments for it as yet. However, the Lancet reports that approaches that focus on self-forgiveness, acceptance, self-compassion, and if possible, making amends. Where have we heard that before? Making amends might hold promises to ease moral injury. In cases in which the effects of moral injury extend beyond psychological to spiritual harms, spiritual care providers could have a role alongside mental health clinicians. That's where we come in, right? We who are skilled in appreciating, if not a spiritual life, at least committed to that which is larger than ourselves. We who are skilled at valuing all life, human and otherwise, and recognizing the dignity and worthiness of all persons. We who are skilled at realizing that none of us is as bad as our worst day. This is where we can make a difference. And coming here and being community is the first step of that. Another action that we can take is to offer and host mental health first aid class, where we learn strategies for helping others in crisis. And if this feels like it calls to your skills, to your passions, or your interests, come join the UUCT care team. I can personally attest, having just gone through a difficult life event, that receiving cards and calls from that care team makes a difference. Thank you, care team, for the cards that you sent. So in the end, the power is in our hands to make the world a more kind, compassionate, and caring place, to recognize harm of all kind and offer support to those experiencing it. Reverend Frank Hall is said to have finished service every Sunday with these words: "If there is any good I can do, or any kindness I can show to any person, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I may not pass this way again. Go in peace, go in love."
Would you please rise as you are able and sing Abide With Me, hymn 101 in the gray hymnal if you have one. The words will be on the screen if you do not. Still with me abide.
Many of us suffer and may be struggling with mental illness, moral injury, and grief. People in some professions are especially at risk, such as military service members, police, teachers, ER doctors and nurses, therapists, but no one is immune. Healing rituals can help us overcome feelings of hopelessness, and we celebrate one now. Our earth is strong. It can hold our pain and our anger, our hope and our love and our joy. Our shared bowl, which we use for joys and sorrows each week, is strong enough to hold the big rocks, our collective celebrations and mournings, and also the smaller stones that will be added to signify our individual feelings. We who live in the desert know that water is a life-sustaining and scarce resource. Let's remember those who are walking through our desert right now without enough water. We pour water from a plastic jug similar to the ones used by No More Deaths and other aid groups seeking to assure greater access to water in the desert. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, I invite you to go to menti.com and put in the code 66564792. Please add your name to your Menti if you want us to know who is sharing. If any of you here in the sanctuary wish to put your thoughts up on Menti, Brian Moon will help you with that. If you are here in person, I invite you to come up to the table and create ripples of hope by putting a stone into the water to symbolize your hope or joy or sorrow.
Not much on our Menti today. Wishing everyone a joyful May 25th with this message. Always know where your towel is. In a spirit of contemplation, Tanisa Ferguson Rowan invites us to listen. Listen to the contented melodies of a free bird, to the spring raindrops communicating with the earth, to the trees dancing in a summer breeze, to the stream flowing, hastening to reunite with its source, to the rhythmic cadence of a baby's breath, to the synchronized footsteps of strolling lovers, to the burning desires of your own heart. It is the sound of silence. It is the voice of God.
Okay, where did I put it? See, this is what happens when you use paper. The offering today. However you participate in today's service, our congregation, okay, try this again. However you participate in today's service, our congregation depends on you for your love, your time, and your financial support. For those of you here in person, the ushers will soon be passing the collection baskets among us. For those watching us from afar, you can send a check to our church office or give online, uucttucson.org/donate. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Carolyn Saunders, a member of your Board of Trustees, and I see the announcements have finished on the screen now, so I'll go ahead and make a few as well. First of all, I want to invite everyone to gather over in Goddard Hall, out those double doors across the patio, for social hour after the service ends today. There'll be a lot of snacks and drinks over there, and they're free for everyone. But if you would like to make a donation, it will be deeply appreciated. From the finance folks, we have this announcement. Fiscal year 24-25 has been an expensive one due to high electricity costs last summer and fall, building maintenance, and increased insurance costs. As a result, our operating reserve has gotten quite low. If you're able to help out with an additional donation, it would be most appreciated. If you write a check, be sure to put on the check that it's for the operating reserve. And if you donate online, you can also indicate there what this is for. Also, remember that in July, we begin our new fiscal year, the 25-26 fiscal year. And if you would like to prepay your pledge for the coming year, or part of your pledge for the coming year, that also would be greatly appreciated, because the summer months are always hard as far as cash flow is concerned. But again, make sure you indicate on your check or online that it is a prepaid pledge, so it will go into that account and be indicated on your records later in the year. As you may have just seen on the screen up here, the Board of Trustee meeting is today after the social hour. I think it begins at 12:30, maybe 12:15, but it'll be over in Cervedas. What? 12:30. Oh, okay, 12:30, I was right the first time. And it'll be in Cervedas, which is the last room in the outside row of children's area over there, the RE rooms. Anyone can attend the Board of Trustee meeting, and so you would be welcome over there. And I also need to mention, with my duty as the denomination representative on the Board of Trustees for one more time, we need representatives for General Assembly, which will be coming up in approximately 1 month. You don't have to go anywhere, even though it will be held in Baltimore, Maryland this year. And if you wanted to go on a nice vacation to Baltimore, you could do that and go to General Assembly in person. But to serve as a delegate, you can actually do it on Zoom. And they're asking for $150 for those delegates or anyone that's doing it on the Zoom meetings. But if your finances aren't such that you can afford that, you can still represent our church as a delegate and be able to register for the meetings. We're starting to give information about what's going to be expected of delegates, so if anyone is interested, please get in touch with me today. Thank you.
I believe the Sunday school lesson today involved water and mud and towels, and so
Yes.
we won't be singing the kids in, but we will still be singing the gratitude song. We are grateful for community, for gifts we share and how we show our love and care. With thinking minds and helping hands, we'll build a place where love and hope expands. Thank you.
Yeah, we thought it was best not to bring sopping wet children into the sanctuary today. So they are having a wonderful time with EGs. But we're going to do a story time anyways, because sometimes people do not have good experience with the authorities that we think are here to help us. And in fact, there are people that more often than not have a bad experience with authorities than they have good experiences. And we're thinking about police, we're thinking about Homeland Security, we're thinking about Border Patrol when we think about that. So there are 2 documents that our worship associates will pass out if you ask. There is a abbreviated policy. You can go online and see the full policy if you would like, for addressing uninvited law enforcement present on our campus. Now, we're talking about uninvited law enforcement, not folks when we call and ask, we have an emergency and we call and invite them. We're talking about folks who show up at our door and say, knock, 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 can we come in? As you might imagine, we have a standard answer. You want to guess what our answer is? May I come in? Not by the hair on our chinny chin chin. The more accurate answer is, show us your warrant, right? Law enforcement authorities are allowed to be in public spaces without a warrant. Before you get the paper where it says where the public spaces are, do you want to guess? On Sunday morning between 10 and 1, where are the public spaces here at UUCT? Right here, this room. Where else is public? Our patio. Where else is public? The parking lot is public. Goddard Hall, our social hall, is public. Sunday school classrooms. So the Thoreau building, the Sunday school classrooms are public. All of our other spaces, including the minister's office, the main office, the RE office, all of our classrooms are private spaces. They are not allowed to come into our private spaces without, the big C word, consent, right? If we could build our church on one thing, it would be consent. So that means we need a warrant. And on the back of this page is a description of what makes for a valid judicial warrant. It needs to be signed by a judge. An ICE warrant is not sufficient. If we need more copies, we can get them to you after service today. And this, I know it's small. We can get this bigger too if we need to. There's some pictures of what a non-valid warrant looks like, signed by an ICE official. It will say ICE. It will say something other than judge. And if you've ever had a court order of any kind, any decree of any kind, you'll recognize the bottom one here. This is a valid court order signed by a judge. And this is what we're looking for. The little red card is your constitutional Know Your Rights card. Pass these out, pass them widely. You have rights, and we are going to follow what's legal and what's right in our community and our congregation and encourage other folks to do the same. So, under procedures, if somebody comes to campus, first thing we do you have a warrant? And we want to make sure that we have the right people from our church talking to the authorities. So that's our Madam Board President, Wendy Gordon-Weeks, one of your ministers, me or Reverend Bethany, and a member of the safety team. Who's on our safety team who's here now? Mike is out in the parking lot. Carolyn Valdez is here, although she prefers you don't ask her. But she could. Barb, Rika, Ken, Ash on our safety team. Those are our folks we've designated should be allowed to talk to our authority, any authorities that come on behalf of UUCT. We're asking for the warrant. We're asking about their purpose. We're asking for documentation and paperwork. And we are not giving consent for private space. Not giving consent for private space. During the week, our whole campus is private space. Our whole campus is private. So this room, our patio, we are designated that as private space. And we are not giving consent without a warrant. And then one of the important things in this policy that we talked about with the board is de-escalation. Can somebody give me an example of a de-escalation strategy? Has that ever worked? When you tell somebody to calm down? Oh, calm down yourself. That works, right? Take a few deep breaths before you enter into the situation. What else might be a good de-escalation strategy?
I don't know, a respectful greeting to somebody who's asking you.
Respectful greeting to somebody who's asking you.
Ask them how their day is going.
Ask them how their day is going. Can I stop for a minute and interject why I love these answers? Because we are people that hold complexity. We know these are people, these are humans doing the job they signed up to do with a good heart, we're going to assume. These are people who signed up to serve their country. These are people that want to keep us safe. And we know they may be experiencing some moral injury themselves. They may be, in fact, violating their own moral code by following these rules, these laws that they're there to enforce. And so we can hold those two truths and be respectful and still protect the most vulnerable among us. This is why I'm a UU. Okay, so back to the script. De-escalation strategies, we're looking for search warrants. We've got lots of examples on what search warrants look like. Any further questions or clarifications would be helpful.
I just want to remind you, make sure the warrant is signed.
Yes.
Flash a paper at you and it looks legit, but nothing's signed.
Yep. And there is no urgency. People coming to enforce something might make us feel like there's a real urgency and they can't show us the paper. There's no urgency. We get to take all the time we want to read the documentation to make sure it's valid and legitimate. If there was somebody in danger, and we know that we have folks who are undocumented, we know that we have folks that are people of color, we know we have folks that are at risk in our congregation, if you know your minister or your board president is out there talking to ICE, what might you do?
Take them to a private space.
Ooh. Take them to a private space because they cannot enter our private space without a warrant or consent. What else might we do?
Take out your cell phone.
And do what? Take out your cell phone and record, right? So, and we've asked our AV team when incidents like that happen, just like with our disruptive behavior practice, they will cut the live feed, but they will continue to record. So we will have video footage of what's going on in here, even though it won't be going out to YouTube. Other things we might do in the case of somebody coming to campus? Hospitality and calming, right? Bring people water, bring people snacks, right? We are the welcome community, and we can do that for the people who are here. Anything else? Sing a song. We can have a little sing-along in the minister's study.
That's private.
It's private, yeah. We keep ICE out of there, always and forever.
Be respectful.
Yeah, be respectful, absolutely.
Don't yell.
Don't yell. That's at the opposite of a de-escalation. That is an escalation strategy. Anything else?
Amelia, are there private spaces over in the RE area?
On Sunday between 10 and 1, all of our classrooms are public, but the RE office is private. So over by Reeb. Reeb should be private too. Let's look at our list. For the purposes of policy, the foyer, sanctuary, administrator's office, Goddard Hall, Emerson Room, so where our grief group meets, parking lot, and Thoreau building will be public. All other offices and classrooms are private. The whole Lincoln, do we consider one side Lincoln and one side Thoreau? Yes. Okay, so the other side, Lincoln will be private. So to answer your question, Janet, the Lincoln side would be private.
Is that like Cerritos?
Is that the Cervitas side?
Yes.
Yes. That'd be a good place to go, yeah. Other things? Form a human chain. Protect the vulnerable. That's why we're here. Yeah, like elephants. Thank you all. We pray we won't need this, but if we do, we are prepared.
Are there exits that are discreet from campus? If someone wants to leave, but they don't want to go in?
Yes, and, oh, sorry, I got to thinking. Are there discrete exits from campus? This side, which is what direction? East. So out this door leads to our neighbor's property. You can also get to the back side. There is a fence back there, though, so that would be a little bit more difficult to go out. Margot is pointing around.
You went back the road around the trash. You would go into the next people's property, but you could probably exit onto one of the streets back.
Right. So she's saying that if we go out this way and around by the dumpster, there's no fence on this end, and you could get to the back neighbor's property from there. Our fire drill, just for grins, has the kids from our children's area going out west, right, towards the Circle K. And if there was a crisis that way, we've actually instructed our children's center to go all the way to the Circle K if we needed to get off of property completely. So that would be another way to go. You could go back through the wash, back through those properties. You would hit the Buddhist temple, actually, over there. Other things we want to talk about? Well, thank you all for your time with this. This is really an important topic. Brian.
Would you please stand one last time and sing a song? There is a love holding us, Elizabeth Norton's song. Simple song. If you don't know it, you'll catch it quick. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. We rest in this love. We rest in this love.
First day at school, you know. As we extinguish our chalice, as the light of the flame no longer a light, we carry its warmth near and far. Its warmth helps carry our faith till we gather again. Thank you.